If you stay in my kitchen for 40 years and cook according to this cookbook, then I will marry you.
Relationships doesn't work that way. How John is proposing to Sally, stay in my house for 40 years, cook for me, and then I choose to marry you or not. How can we expect the same thing from God? God is a person or a mind. We cannot expect a relationship like that between us and God. So what I mean is, if we are a religious person and we say, I don't need Jesus Christ for my salvation, or I'm a good person already and I don't need all of that, blah blah, and those kind of things, we have to think a little more, because religion is like a university system. Like, you collect points, like merit points, and eventually either you will graduate or not, depends on your good deeds and all those stuff. And this is just like how John was proposing to Sally. For 80 years, collect good points, then I will decide to marry you. I will decide that you go to heaven or not. Just, you see the analogy here. But what is missing here is the grace of God that needs to be acknowledged. Because, you see, religion comes from the fact that there is a law, the law that was given through Moses. There is a law that we have to stick to it. To be a good person, you have to, do not steal, do not murder, and all those pieces of the law. And because we are human beings, we fall short no matter what. And God is perfect. So His perfection, or His standard of perfection, is perfect adherence to the law, and nobody can do it perfectly, just how God expects. But then coming of Jesus Christ and His sacrifice is to fulfill the law. That means even you try to adhere to the law and do all of your best, once you do not realize, if your conscience is not there to acknowledge that God's Son came on earth in flesh and was sacrificed for your sins, if you're not finding that final peace, it means still you're falling short. Still your conscience is not there to acknowledge that final part of the law. So, because Jesus said, I'm not here to remove the law, but to fulfill the law. And therefore, not only we have to stick to the law as much as we can, but we are human beings and God knows that, and depend on what body we are in, we are prone to certain sins, right? Our decisions are deviated from what God considered for us because of our physical body and our brain. But then the solution that God gives is accepting His grace through Jesus Christ, sacrifice of Jesus Christ, and is trying to bring our attention to the sacrifice. That when we accept it, when we receive it, then we try our best to stick to the law, and we have received it, then we are saved. The salvation is ours, and it means we have married with God. We already married, now we are in His kitchen on earth, living our lives. So everybody needs salvation. It's not like this religion or that religion. Everybody needs salvation. And I can give you an example of how Jesus' sacrifice makes sense, because some people, I've heard they say it's such a pity. Why would God, get crucified and those kind of things? Why would He crucify His Son and do and that? imagine you have two children, a mother with two children. And one of the children, like let's say they are both adults, and one of them does a really bad thing toward the other. Let's say kind of intentionally cuts the hand off that other child. Now the mother loves them both, right? Of course she doesn't like the act of the person who committed the sin, but she is like, you did wrong. And because I want to be just to the other child who's been the victim, I'm going to cut my own hand. I love you both, but I'm going to cut my own hand, hand for hand, and that'll be my own hand. I'm bearing your sinful act on my shoulders to forgive you if you realize it. So the child that did the sin, if he or she realizes the mother's grace, but by sacrificing mother herself, then mother forgives her. If she doesn't realize that, why would mother forgive her? She is subject to judgment. So this is similar to that, because the sin and the word happens against some other people. Like you steal from somebody else, you are intruding them, you murder or you cheat. So all type of sins are toward other people for the most part. Well, sometimes just based on your own, toward the person themselves. And that is also a sin, because by doing that sin, you're sinning against God, right? Your body, everything you have is given by God, and when you are doing something wrong, you're sinning against God. So when you think about it, Jesus' sacrifice is purely out of love and grace of God. Religion is not enough. You need to accept His sacrifice and have a relationship with God. Everyone needs salvation. Thank you all.